Hello, everyone. This is Spencer, and this is Whale FM's Project Showcase. I am super honored to have a very special guest with us today, Jake Steinerman, Head of Community at Spatial. Jake, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Hey Spencer, I'm doing great, man. Super psyched to be here. Super psyched to talk to you and to the whale community. So really excited.
It is an honor to have you here. We have been speaking for a little while, of course. Me and you have been interacting for a couple of weeks, and we're going to dive into some of the newer features that you and your team have been working extremely hard on. But for those in our community who don't know what spatial is, can you give them a little insight and kind of explain it?
Totally, yeah. So we are. Uh, we like to describe us as a virtual space that brings us all together. So we're a platform that works on virtual reality, augmented reality, mobile devices, and web. It allows you to create virtual spaces to really be present with other people, no matter where they are in the world. So we've actually had a lot of users recently in the last couple of months creating virtual galleries to host their NFT art and pull it in from OpenSea and Super Rare and other collections. And we had, of course, a great event a few days ago with the Whale Vault, which I'm sure we'll definitely get into, and we'll show some of that. So really, as a new platform for creating immersive experiences around art, but around all other kinds of 2D and 3D content. We started as we're a startup. We're about 3 years old. It started in 2016, but came out of stealth in 2018. And really was originally focused on how can we get people at small businesses or even large companies to be present in the same space to do things like design review sessions, brainstorming, immersive presentations. Companies like Ford and Pfizer and a lot of others use us to do, and Mattel use us to do things like design review on their new products. Bring in a 3D model of a vehicle or other objects and getting people in the same space to work around them. And they're all doing that with our spatial avatars, which are actually super realistic, like you'll see, because they're created just with a selfie and applied using AI to your avatar. So you actually have an avatar that looks and acts just like you in real life. And you can, of course, use other photographs to apply to your avatar as well if you'd like to kind of remain anonymous, or if you want to look, like Matthew McConaughey or someone like that, look like a better version of yourself. You can do that too. So we're all about creating these really immersive, realistic experiences that you can have with each other around arts, content, whatever you like.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's a lot of information to absorb. And we're going to touch on the NFT aspect here in a little bit, but I did want to talk about that avatar thing because I got to try it out myself, and I was a little creeped out that I saw myself in the screen, so I had to change my avatar to Dr. House. Um, but that's so incredible, and I think that it's really interesting to hear, you know, you guys at Spatial talk about how you're entering the NFT space because to some extent, I have to say, like 2020 with the coronavirus pandemic really changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that VR and AR aided in the progression really, really well. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys got into and how you guys were able to adapt and aid companies, during 2020?
Yeah, it was actually is pretty amazing. So I mean, I myself have been in the AR VR space for almost 10 years, and the technology has really been around even much longer than that. All the different headsets and software that's been developed, and the pandemic really kind of presented a problem that needed a solution, and the technology happened to been in existence for a while. Those VR technologies, and then us at Spatial, we'd been developing our platform and our technology for a couple of years, and it had been in use by a lot of people over over that time. But the pandemic really accelerated the entire industry and this entire adoption of the technology. Just looking at our own usage, we saw use and our user base grow by 130x over the last year. Driven by, of course, everyone being locked in their homes and wanting some sort of escape. But then also the availability of devices like the Oculus Quest and the Quest 2, which are very affordable, accessible virtual reality devices. So it's totally changed the landscape and the expectation of how people meet with each other and see each other. Because I think we've all grown tired of the Zooms and seeing each other in black boxes. And now the technology exists where we can break out of those boxes and really even high five each other. We have a really cool like high five effect. If you high five someone in Spatial, you get like a little explosion pop out. But it gives you this sense of immersion and presence that you don't get through other kinds of technologies. So the last year has been a really transformational shift, and we don't see that shift going away. As things start to kind of get back to whatever normal is going to be. These are things that are going to persist continuously, especially in the NFT and art space as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's very similar to how a lot of people related it to the Zoom calls, right? Like you mentioned it yourself, people are tired of seeing people in little boxes. But what we did discover as a society is that, sometimes it's not necessary to book a flight to China for a 15-minute meeting. Definitely. Whereas I think that, Zoom kind of aided with that. But then on top of it, now you've got these VR, AR environments where you can literally bring your avatar into a virtual environment, interact with somebody across the globe in real time, and do things like sign business deals or collaborate on work together. And I think that's such a truly impressive thing. I mean, technology is shifting so quickly, but you did mention that you guys have entered into the NFT space, and of course the whale community, we are all about NFTs. We're focused on NFTs. So how did you guys go from being that virtual collaboration environment to now adding NFT integration? You guys just announced that you have MetaMask support. How did that start?
Yeah, it's really amazing actually. It's not something that we're following. We still consider ourselves sort of outsiders to the space. So it's been amazing working with you, Spencer, and the Whale team, and a lot of other partnerships that we've started as well, which we'll talk about across the NFT space, because it's the NFT community really found us. So we started to see a couple of months ago, our traffic to our web app just kind of spike seemingly out of nowhere. And we're like, something interesting is going on here. We're trying to figure out what it was. And what we found was there were a number of artists like Federico Clapis, he's an Italian sculpturist and NFT artist, and Harlan Perez, who's another really talented NFT artist. He does a lot of stuff with like sci-fi robots. It's really cool. They started to use Spatial to create these immersive galleries that they can invite their collectors to, their fans to really have an experience around the art. Because what they were seeing, and what we've started to now see, is as a problem or a need, I should say, within the NFT space, is that art that's created, these incredible works and collections, really need to be experienced to be truly appreciated, not just looking at them on 2D screens, especially when you're talking about digital art that has a whole other dimension to it. So they started creating rooms and galleries in Spatial and then bringing their art kind of manually at the time into Spatial by dragging and dropping it into a room and then laying out the space. So we said, this is a really interesting thing that's happening, and this community that's organically growing within our platform. What can we do to help nurture that community and help enable it better so that more artists can create these immersive experiences, and not just this isn't just a 3D space that you alone can jump into and see maybe a 3D NFT or a 2D NFT, but you can invite 30 plus people into the room at the same time and have a true event that happens. So we'll talk about it. The Whale Vault, we had a gallery opening event where there was 30 people in there that were all talking about the pieces together with their avatars. And in VR, so you had the full hand tracking, and it really felt like we were there in a physical kind of gallery opening style event. So we've seen this happening more and more and more, especially now that we've launched MetaMask integration. So just with a click, you can pull in your collections from your MetaMask wallet and then put those pieces into virtual reality super quickly. And then adding other tools like a gallery environment. So you can have this gorgeous, and we'll show it, this gorgeous gallery, 3D gallery environment that you can use freely. And at the same time, if you wanted to, create a completely custom environment as well. So if you had a 3D NFT or just a 3D model of a space you wanted to have, maybe you wanted to have showcase your art on the surface of Mars, you can create custom environments. Really with just a couple of clicks, you have a completely immersive custom environment to showcase your work, and we make that really easy and accessible to do, and completely free too.
Yeah, as someone who was able to try it, it really is another experience being able to hop into a VR headset and see your NFT art on the wall. It was something that I was really looking forward to because, like you said, it is one thing to see it on a 2D screen, but we're so accustomed to that, right? We're looking at 2D screens all the time. It looks very normal to us. But when you hop into that immersive environment and you say, "This is an NFT I purchased for 1 ETH," and now I'm seeing it, I can move my hands in front of it and I can show it off to other people. It is a totally different experience. And you actually mentioned that we did have a whale vault gallery, and we showed that for the spatial community and for the whale community on Monday. And you actually put together a video for us, which I'd love to share with the community. And I'd also love for you to be able to show people, what it's like in the web version, being able to just hop in and see. But let's go ahead and play that video that you put together for us. It was a beautiful video, really well done on cinematics. I got to give you props. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for the community here.
All right.
Truly a spectacle to be seen. I have to say, major props to you on the video, and also major props to Cryptolorian, one of our lovely mods who was able to put together that gallery. He spent a lot of time doing that. But again, as a community whose token is centered around the NFTs in this vault, being able to see them up close and in person was fascinating. So I truly do believe that it's a great experience that everyone should try out for themselves. But yeah, so tell me a little bit more about what you guys are doing in the NFT community. I mean, I know you guys just had a huge press event. What are some events that you've had the pleasure of seeing take place? Are you guys collaborating with any awesome artists coming up? What do you guys have on your end?
Yeah, totally. If I can share my screen, I can talk through some and show you kind of what some other things we've done as well. So if I hit share screen, let's see if I can get this working here. And I'll show you I'll talk through it as well. There we go. Cool. So yeah, we've done, I'll kind of start down here. So we have, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So we've been doing a lot of events and partnerships across the NFT space, the last couple of weeks, and we have a lot more coming. So of course, we did the whale one, but other ones that we have done and are doing, we have great partnerships with OpenSea. They did an opening, gallery opening event similar to what we did with you all. They did this last week. So they had this custom, this is a custom gallery environment that they use to showcase various handpicked collections. So we're working with their mods to curate this gallery. We'll be doing one with Super Rare at the end of June as well. So similar type of setup. And then with each of those, with OpenSea and Super Rare, and then we did one with Super Chief as well. So they have some incredible galleries and some incredible in-person physical NFT galleries as well. They have one of the first, if not the first, in-person physical NFT galleries in New York City. So we're working with all of these great partners to create virtual versions of their collections and galleries and events around them as well. So those are some of like the big marketplaces and galleries that we're working with. Some individual artists that we're working with. One is, I mentioned him before, Federico Clapis. He was one of the ones who kind of got us onto this this whole community. Because this is actually one of his first videos that he posted to Twitter a few months ago, showing his 3D NFTs. He created this atelier. And where he laid out his models in this space. And he's actually going to be doing another event in the next week or so with his 3D NFTs. They'll be able to visit with others and experience those incredible works. Another one that we did kind of a community little preview to yesterday, and there'll be tons of events happening over the next few months, is the Mars House by Krista Kim. So Krista, incredible artist, created this 3D NFT, and she actually sold it a few months ago to the collector Art on Internet. It was sold for $500,000. But her and Art on Internet both are bringing it into and have brought it into Spatial, so that not only can you see the 3D model of it and see the art that is the Mars House, but actually inhabit the Mars House and even live in it and have events. They'll be having events, parties, concerts, all kinds of things inside the Mars House as well. So here's some photos. We have a little selfie stick feature in Spatial, so you can take some selfies and photos in the experience. So you can see here the different everyone's avatars. They look quite realistic. So we had a great event, and Krista actually came herself and gave everyone a kind of behind the scenes look at the Mars House, her inspiration for it. And yeah, it was just a really great event. And what was most incredible was just the diversity of attendees that we had there. We had myself, I'm in near New York City. We had others from Brussels, Colombia, Munich, California, really all over the world. Krista herself's in Toronto. But we were all in the same space, right next to each other, having the same experience, talking face to face. It was truly, it was a really special event. And obviously, myself working on the Spatial team, I'm in Spatial rooms all the time, but I'm still in awe of the kinds of spaces that are being created by artists like Krista, and of course the artists and collectors in the whale community as well. They're really incredible types of spaces. But we do have, those are some events that happen. We have an events calendar with a lot more coming up, some this week. So if you go to actually spatial.io/events, you'll come to our events page here where you can RSVP for all these events that we have coming up by all kinds of artists. And then if you join, we have a Discord and also a Slack for those who prefer Slack as well. Who can join our community, and we're posting after the events happen. A lot of the artists keep the spaces open and accessible after the events. So we'll be posting the links to those rooms as well, so you can continue to access them even after the events are over if you want to revisit the space as well. So really a lot of exciting stuff that's happening.
That's incredible. And I did just post in our Discord channel the links to your Eventbrite page, as well as your Discord, Twitter, and your website. But I do have to ask, from a personal standpoint, as someone who spends so much time in VR, does the disorientation ever go away?
I don't know if there's disorientation in VR. I mean, the technology, I know that's a concern that people have. Some people have a virtual reality, whether that's motion sickness or just any sort of disorientation. And I hop in and out of VR meetings all the time. I was in 2 or 3 this morning, at least, and there was no disorientation from my end. It's actually quite comfortable from the headsets. I've got a bunch here. This is the Oculus Quest 2. I've got the older Quest 1 and stuff as well. They're actually quite light and quite comfortable. So you can spend a couple hours in there with little discomfort. But for those who either don't have a VR headset or choose not to use one, whatever your choice, we're not a strict VR company, so we actually have a mobile app as well, and then we kind of give a glimpse of our web, our newly launched web version, so you can have the full capabilities of Spatial right in your web browser just by clicking a link. So it makes it super accessible. So if you can imagine, not even have to imagine, like the whale gallery, when we created that and had the event, we just put out a tweet and said, "Here, come jump into the whale vault and meet with other people who are part of the whale community and NFT enthusiasts and art enthusiasts." And just by clicking that link, we had a lot of people coming straight from our Twitter or straight from our Discord, and didn't have to put on a headset, and we're still able to meet everyone and traverse this metaverse, this virtual space and gallery that was created.
Absolutely. And we were having a conversation prior to the stream about how Facebook actually made the entry value for VR really low. So basically, for a couple of $100, less than the price of a PlayStation 5, actually,
Yeah.
you can go in and hop into VR and have these types of immersive environments. But you actually mentioned that you have the web version now, and I know that a couple of features have been updated there. Do you actually have an instance of that you'd be willing to show us and kind of show the community how that works and what they could expect if they just clicked on the Spatial link?
100%. Let me bring that up. I got it right here. It's almost as if we planned it.
No planning, none.
No planning at all. So this is actually Microsoft Edge. So it runs in any browser. So here you can see my avatar, and I can click to move around the space. I can click to look around, and then I can use like the arrow keys on my keyboard to move this through the space, and I can click on the floor to kind of teleport around as well. And then if I go up to a piece here, for example, I can zoom in to get a first-person view. I can see the metadata from that piece as well, showing that it's from the vault and the ownership and any other metadata that came with that straight from the blockchain. So we have this full immersive gallery here as well. And if I was curating my space, so in this case I'm visiting the whale vault, and I can kind of walk around here and view everything. So we've got videos. In this case, the vault is primarily 2D art, but we could have 3D models in here as well, and videos. If I was curating my space, down here at the bottom, I have a few ways to bring in content. I could upload 2D and 3D content directly into Spatial, but we have our MetaMask integration, so I can click on this MetaMask NFT button, and it'll actually bring up things that are in my collection, in my wallet. So I can just click on one of those. Say, for example, I won't do it here since this is the whale vault, but I'll do it here. I'll delete it quickly. I can choose, for example, this piece from my wallet, and that one, of course, the one I chose didn't work. There we go. So I can choose that piece here, and I'll bring it and put it on the wall. Now, I was working with you guys on this, so I have administrator access to this room, but you can lock it down. Other people who are creating the galleries can lock it down using host tools and things like that, so you can't have other people messing with your space. But I can just come in here and just start curating my space. I can put it up on the wall. I can cover up this piece, whatever I want, and then just start laying out my entire gallery. And then I click the share button, and I can share this link with whoever I like, and then they can jump in on VR or right in the web like you're seeing here. So super easy and accessible. And we're about to add in the next week or so. A lot of questions we ask is, can I connect this to the actual original piece? And the answer is yes. So we're adding in about a week. When you click on the info panel, that'll take you right to the original source, the original listing, if that's on Super Rare, OpenSea, wherever it might be, and then you can go bid on the pieces on those sites. So you can actually use this as a platform to promote and sell and showcase your collections.
I think that as a society, humans, we tend to gravitate towards what feels normal to us or what feels familiar, right? And jumping into an environment like this that feels kind of gives you that museum feel, right? Like you're walking into an art museum. It kind of makes you feel at home. And I think that this is such an incredible opportunity for artists out there now to be able to host galleries. I was actually talking to someone in the whale event or the whale gallery event on Monday, and he was saying that as an artist, he can basically host events almost every 2 hours or so, straight from the comfort of his office or his living room or his studio, and actually list his pieces for sale. He can invite people to this virtual gallery, and people can come and bid on it and look at it and see what it would look like. So I think that you guys are really paving the way for artists in the space to really leap forward and get recognition for their work. And I think that's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, there's you can come in here and create this gallery, and you can create your own gallery in as little as 2 minutes. Super easy to get started. And we're not in the space of trying to take commissions from sales or having you buy virtual land or space or anything like that. We have other business models. If people are like, how do you make money? We have other business models, for other types of customers to do that. We're simply just adding on some capabilities to enable artists to get their work recognized. So you can jump in, really quickly and start creating these spaces, super fast and no cost. So we look forward to, having a lot of other artists create their galleries on here. And our calendar's been filling up with all kinds of events with all kinds of artists within our own community. We've had some people who are more traditional, in business and stuff, come out and say, "Oh, actually, I'm an artist or I'm a photographer, and I'd love to have my own gallery in the space as well." So it's amazing to see this kind of creativity kind of pop its way out of these crevices we didn't know existed, to have this essentially like art metaverse on our platform.
Absolutely. And you touched on some of the other ways that you guys are able to, make money as a company, but we do have a question in the Discord channel. How has the reception been by corporate entities? Obviously, you can't reveal names. There's a little bit of, quote unquote NDA there. But can you share any anecdotal stories of, them using Spatial for their own needs and adapting?
100%. Yeah, we have that was our bread and butter. That's how we got started. So we have a whole bunch of examples here, from like this consulting company TDP using it for brainstorming sessions. So you can see here they can lay out an entire room with all kinds of presentations. In this case, the more traditional 2D types of presentations. But then you have other companies like within Facebook networks that's laying out they're building out essentially infrastructure in remote countries or remote parts of countries, and they can lay out and figure out what that infrastructure is going to look like from within Spatial. You also have video game companies that are planning the layouts of levels within their game within Spatial. They can bring in the 3D models from their games and also bring in 2D panels throughout a space to kind of lay out what that's going to look like. We have, let's see here, other companies here that are doing all kinds of brainstorming sessions. We have sticky notes and post-it notes and all other kinds of tools where you can handwrite notes and bring in your 3D models and 3D scribbles. So we have, like I said, all kinds of companies that are just moving all in on this technology. And one that I'll point out in particular in terms of how companies are adopting this, there's this one company called Larval. They're a software company. They've been remote since they started about 15 or so years ago. But they've actually gone all in VR first, meaning they don't use Zoom, they don't use other kind of meeting tools. They're all in on Spatial. So they've all created their own offices within the platform and their own meeting rooms. So when they have team meetings or they do things like interviews or meet with clients, they're meeting with them inside of Spatial. So they have their headquarters they've got a completely VR headquarters basically, and that's where we see this going, especially as more and more people work remotely. You're going to have this concept. Of course, there's going to be people that are going to the office in person, but how do you keep engaging with people who choose to work from home, or maybe they're working remotely and they're far away from the office? How do you keep them engaged and part of the team. And we're seeing that happening with companies of all shapes and sizes.
As a tech head myself, this stuff fascinates me, and for the people that are watching this right now, I hope that you also took note that Spatial is a VR and AR environment. So, Jake, how does this type of stuff? Do you guys have any NFT integrations in AR? Are you guys able to, like, for example, I may be talking off my head here, but can you just walk into a living room and be like, "Oh, I want to see that piece on my wall," or is that coming? Something you guys have planned or already implemented?
Yeah, so the MetaMask integration works. All the features that we've shown off today, they work across VR or AR. Now, when you're talking about like the virtual environments, like that gallery environment, you won't see that in AR simply because you don't want to cover up your physical world with a digital environment that you wouldn't be able to see the physical world. But the content of that space, like the art, like the other people, the avatars in this space, like you're seeing here, you can fill up with your NFT art. So you can take something from your MetaMask wallet and throw it up on the wall like you're seeing here, and that would stay persistent in your space. So we are talking with some of the partners I talked about before actually about having mixed reality NFT galleries that you can have. So you can imagine putting on a headset, or we have AR modes right in our mobile app, so you don't need a HoloLens to do it. You can just switch to AR mode on your iPhone or your Android phone and have this experience where you can lay out your NFTs on the wall completely digitally.
So what you're telling me is that I can basically sell all of my furniture, all of my decor, and I'm just going to move to an NFT only environment from here on out?
It might not be comfortable. I might recommend a cushion or something, but yeah, you could do that, and that's where this technology is going. That especially once we're all wearing AR glasses, whenever that happens, you're just think about it. We've all bought a TV at Best Buy or something like that, right? And then had to bring it home and set it up or hang it up on the wall. Just imagine like that process all the time, or every time if you move, right? You got to take your artwork off the wall, or if you're an artist and you're curating galleries, setting up those galleries each time. Imagine you walked into your home or your gallery, you just put on the device and just spoke to the device and said, "Lay out my art for me." It automatically recognizes the walls and the layout of the space because that's been scanned, and just throws the wall up, for you right away. So you have these instant virtual galleries, and then you can walk up to a piece, or someone can be visiting. One person could be visiting the virtual space in VR. Another person can walk into your physical gallery, put on a headset, or use the AR mode on their phone, see the NFT art, and you're both inhabiting the same space like you're seeing here. These are our co-founders, Anand and Jinha. You both can look at the same content and say, "Oh, I like this piece. I'm going to bid on it," and just eventually you'll be able to just tap on it and say, place a bid for it, virtually, but you're in the physical real world doing it. So this concept of the hybrid and mixed reality, it's already here. I mean, this video is actually 2 years old. This is not showcasing NFTs, but the concept is still exactly the same.
I'm so excited to see this play out over the next couple of years. And I think it's going to be an interesting space because, like mentioned, we are going to start seeing more of this hybrid environment. And the question is will people gravitate more towards one end or the other, or is the hybrid environment the future? I don't know. But another question from our Discord is this, have you guys seen this, as something that people have utilized during COVID? Like, for example, furniture stores, clothing stores, to be able to showcase, their products and such?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if I have a video on that specific use case, but 100%, with these custom environments that you can create, I'll show something that's kind of similar-ish to that. So in this case, there's this group IdeaGen. They're creating this virtual space for conference networking. And actually, if I go over here, there's a company, Nice. They're a global call center software company, but you can see they've laid out, not the most exciting concept in the world, but in this case, a call center. But you can see they've laid out what an in-person call center is like. So you can lay out furniture and invite people to that space, whether that's a store or whether and you're trying to sell physical products, or whether that's you're trying to design a physical layout of a space. You have this infinite canvas to do that, and it's so much easier to bring in a digital a digital a storefront or a digital tabletop than setting up a physical environment. But then connecting that with a physical product is now super easy, especially with NFTs, and making that transaction much more efficient and secure. This is 100% what's happening, and we're starting to see it on our platform, but also in the AR VR space in general, with things like virtual fashion and virtual clothing and things like that. So being able to showcase fashion and clothing brands and products all in these immersive experiences. Because like you had said before, Spencer, you don't have to get on a plane anymore to go to an event or to meet someone for a quick meeting. You can now have experiences and still network with people, which is always the most important part of going somewhere, is networking with people. You can still have these really engaging, memorable networking experiences. Because there's also been a lot of studies that have been done with around VR in terms of your memory retention for when you have a VR experience is basically the same as if you had an in-person experience. These become real memories, as opposed to if I join a Zoom call, or I maybe go on a website and look at a video. We're having so much data beamed at us that I'm probably going to forget that because I'm looking at it so passively. But when I'm fully immersed in a space and I'm talking face to face with someone, and we have a physical presence with one another and a physical presence with an environment, those become real memories that you have. And that becomes really powerful, whether that's art or whether that's training someone how to do something, or whether that's trying to create an experience around a product. That becomes super powerful, and why we see this is a trend that's only going to accelerate. COVID and the lockdowns have kind of forced people to be introduced to these technologies. People that may not have believed it before, but now that they're getting introduced to it, it's becoming something that's really sticking with people, and it's going to be used and accelerated that much faster.
I definitely had to chuckle a little bit because I would not anticipate someone making a cubicle in VR, but they did it.
They did it. That's one. I'm in that video actually, and it was. I never thought I'd find myself. This is my dream job, working in a virtual call center, and then, but I mean, you can create everything from the mundane to the truly extraordinary, like the Mars house, right? It's just you have this. You create anything you can imagine, and each company is using it in different ways, whatever makes the most sense for them. So it is remarkable, even in the mundane.
Absolutely. We're all going to have virtual meetings on the beach from now on in the Dominican Republic. That's how we're going to do it. And that's the only way I'll accept a job from here on out.
Exactly. Well, you'll be perfectly fit at Spatial. We have an outdoor environment, like a little bonfire setting on a lake. We do that all the time, and it's lovely.
I can only imagine. I'm definitely going to have to come visit you guys sometime soon. With that said, I think that we had one more question here in the chat. Do you believe that we're in the presence of the end of physical galleries in exchange for virtual?
No, I don't think we are. I don't think physical galleries are going away, nor should they. I mean, they're very important for a lot of different reasons. But I think, and this goes along with the trends that are happening across the world in general, people have a yearning to be, to have in-person physical presence, right? We want that. That's human nature. To be, to give someone an actual hug. I don't think VR in the near term seeks to entirely replace that, but I think it's intended to be make experiences more accessible to more people. So you can think of it, you mentioned an artist, and there's others in our community and others in the NFT space that I've encountered as well that have said, I can have a physical gallery, which can be expensive and timely to set up, but this also opens up who I can access, because now I'm not only limited to people that can physically make it to my in-person showing, but now I can have people who are anywhere in the world or of any sort of accessibility or capability can now come and see my art and experience it with other people at the same time. So this just widens the accessibility, the range of accessibility and the audience that you can open up to. So it's definitely not going to be replacing physical events. Physical events will come back. They'll come back in different forms, but they're going to be this hybrid type of events and experiences, and that's what's really exciting. You'll just have more people who can access more types of content, more art, more experiences going forward.
Beautiful. And I love that. I love that outlook on things. And I'd have to agree. We've seen a tremendous shift, like I mentioned earlier, in the past year, but we are seeing that people crave that human interaction, and we want to go back to that as soon as we're able to. So I think that, like you mentioned, it only expands our opportunities. We're only, adding to the experience. If I can't visit a conference in LA, maybe I can attend virtually in VR, or something of that nature. So I agree 100%. With that said, what's next for you guys at Spatial? What are you guys working on? Is there anything exciting coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we've been putting out releases like at a super fast pace. We have a lot more coming. We're hoping to do deeper integrations with existing platforms. Like you saw, we have a huge calendar of events coming up with NFT artists, and we're hoping to grow that even further. It's going to be really exciting as the technology progresses. Like some of the hardware, like the Oculus Quest is one example, but all the other hardware as well is progressing at a really fast rate via software. So there's going to be a lot of new capabilities coming from these. From a technology perspective, there's going to be a lot of new capabilities coming from existing devices that make the experiences even more immersive and interactive. But we're going to be just building out more and more capabilities, and these are requests and capabilities that are driven straight from our community. So that's why I strongly recommend if you're interested in using Spatial and have ideas of how we can make it better. Especially when it comes to the NFT space. I've told the Whale Mod team, I've told every NFT partner that we have, we're outsiders to this space. We completely realize that this was a community that found us, and we want to embrace it as much as possible. So we want to hear what artists and collectors want and need in a platform like this, so we can make it that much better and more useful. So we really look forward to being a really strong partner with the NFT community. I think it's always a beautiful thing when technology and art come together. I think it's been a dream for a long time, and it's really exciting to see that come together even more. So I really look forward to us being continuing being partners with the community, and hopefully meeting a lot of individual artists and collectors within the NFT community.
100%. And I think we spoke about this briefly at one point, but a sister company to Whale is actually Elite, and it's all about luxury esports apparel. But we have the physical versions, which you can physically buy and go wear IRL, and then we have the NFTs, which are actually digital wearables. So I'm looking forward to one day hopefully being able to wear my Elite hoodie in Spatial. That would be fantastic. Show off my digs a little bit and have that clout.
Exactly. It's going to be amazing to see that come together, and that definitely will happen 100%, because you got to have a little swag in VR. That's always that has to happen. So we don't want to lose that. 100%.
Always. Well, Jake, how can people find you guys? I did just drop the link to all of your websites. Is there anything specific you'd like to direct people to?
Yeah, I mean, most of the links are on our website, spatial.io. But yeah, thanks for dropping the Discord. We got a Discord community. It is relatively new in the last couple of weeks, so we are growing that. But looking forward to having more people from the Whale community and others on there. And then also Twitter at SpatialXR is a great place to follow us as well.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jake. It's been a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you chatting with me. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us or show us before we hop off?
I think we covered it pretty well. That was a lot to take in. And just the last piece I'll leave. We've done these events and partnerships with Whale and with others. But anyone, like I said, anyone can jump in and create their own gallery on their own. It's meant to be completely self-service. So feel free to jump in. If you go to app.spatial.io, that's where our web app exists, and then we're on the Oculus Quest store, we're on the iOS Android store, so you can jump in on any platform you choose and really just jump in, add your MetaMask integration, and start creating and sharing your galleries. So just have at it.
Looking forward to seeing a bunch of people in the whale community do that as well, and maybe I'll be able to hop into some of their galleries. With that said, thanks so much, Jake. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I hope everyone enjoyed this additional project showcase on Whale FM, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Spencer. Bye bye.